Thank you, Mudassir, for this nice introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, guys. I'm Ahtisham Raza. I'm going to be your host, and we're going to talk about the developing a RAG application with Langchain. As Mudassir has mentioned, this is a very ideal webinar going for the people who are interested to be expert in generative AI field. So we're going to see how we can create our own application using the Langchain, how we can establish our own RAG, and how we can utilize using the OpenAI API. So without any further delay, let's jump into the session. Mudassir, can you stop sharing your screen so I can share my screen? Yes.
Yes, sir, I have stopped the sharing.
Okay. So guys, my screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir, screen is visible.
Okay, perfect. So today we're going to have a discussion around the introduction to Langchain RAG and its application. So my introduction, I'm Ahtisham Raza. As you guys know, we are familiar from a couple of sessions. I'm AI/ML engineer and generative AI expert. I'm also a trainer at Data Analyst HQ. So I'm working in a from last 3+ years. I'm working in different industries. I have worked in fintech. I have worked in legal department. So I have utilized different machine learning and large language models to simply optimize their operations using the generative AI. So if you guys are interested to connect with me, my two mediums are always available for you. If you want to read my blogs, you can just simply search me on Medium. If you want to connect with me, if you have any question, you can just simply approach me on the LinkedIn. And once there is an announcement, most of the people reach me on LinkedIn. They ask me, do you provide courses on AI ML engineer? So I have received lot of messages from people. So those who are interested in the course of AI ML, we're going to announce that course in the later in this webinar. So stay tuned with us till the end of this session. So we'll announce when and how we're going to start our course. So without any further delay, let's jump into today's agenda. We're going to talk about the introduction of the large language models. We're going to just have a recap, those people who are joining for the very first time, so they will have also understanding about the what is large language model. Next we'll see what is RAG. RAG is called as Retrieval Augmented Generation, and then we'll talk about the Langchain. Then we'll see what are the limitations of large language models, how you can improve these limitations, why RAG is important, the architecture of the RAG, how does the RAG work, RAG versus fine tuning. Do we need to fine tune our large language model, or we need to create our RAG so that can done our job? Benefits of RAG, we're going to see what are the benefits of RAG if you utilize the RAG, how it's going to help you, how it's going to facilitate you, and then we'll talk about the applications, and then in the last we'll have a demo where we'll do the practical implementation of the RAG. So that's going to be a very basic, but it's going to help you a lot. We're going to create the demo using the Azure OpenAI. So then stay connected with us. So introduction, what is a large language model? Large language model is just nothing. It's like just simple machine learning and deep learning neural network. The same architecture is followed here, but the new introduction is here is it is equipped by the transformer. A large language model is a type of artificial intelligence program that can recognize and generate text among other tasks. So this large language model is mainly concerned with the textual data. When you have a bigger text, your deep learning model still has the limitation, it cannot accept a larger text. Still you have to pass a limited text. Let's say you are performing a text summarization, you cannot go above from certain number of words. But if you go with a large language model has the capability, it can take up to 1000 to 8000 to 32,000 64,000 number of words as an input, and it can easily work on that, it can easily process that data. So that's why it's called large language models. These are language models which can accept the larger data set and recognize the text and perform your task. Large language models are very large models that are pre-trained on vast amount of data. If I talk about the BERT is the very first large language model which is trained by the Google. It is trained on the huge data set of the Wikipedia. So if you just go to the Wikipedia, you will, if you see simple one blog on the Wikipedia, you will see the whole blog is quite bigger. But if you consider the whole data set of the Wikipedia, you can't assume how much bigger the data set it is. So that model is trained on the data set of the Wikipedia. It has the capability to get fine-tuned on your data set, and it can understand from your data, and whatever you want to perform, you can do this. So large language models are pre-trained. They have already trained. You cannot train from the scratch, because if you start create a training from the scratch, it's going to take a lot of time, and the main issue you're going to face is the resources. You don't have enough resources, you won't have enough resources to pre-train your model. So the only way is to fine-tune large language model on your own data set. Let's say if your BERT is pre-trained on the Wikipedia dataset, you have to perform certain type of text classification. You can just simply pick few samples of the data, and you can just simply pass, and you can just simply perform the fine tuning. Still, BERT will be able to understand that data, and it will be able to perform your specific task. Built on transformer architecture is a set of neural network that consists of an encoder and decoder with self-attention capabilities. So here I'm going to in much deeper detail. So what is a transformer? Transformer architecture allow the large language model to understand the context of your text. Prior this, deep learning model does not had this architecture. They used to just simply understanding the text. If you talk about the RNN, LSTM, GRU, they just simply understand their text, but they are not understanding the context. If it just simply perform the comparison with the text, but transformers gives the ability to your large language model to comprehend the context of your input text. So it understands the context and gives the capability of your large language model to identify which is the context, where do I have to pay the attention. In just simply just assume you passing a text which is containing stop words, which is containing the, is, this kind of words, which is not important for your prediction. The most important thing is what is the context, what you are talking about in your paragraph. So you have to train your model which should pay attention to that important text instead of these just simply stop words. So this is the capability of the large language model. It automatically identifies the context, and based on the self attention capabilities, it identifies, okay, this I am in this paragraph the discussion is going to this about this. So it automatically identifies the attention. It just simply pay attention automatically to that text. It can perform completely different tasks such as answering questions, summarizing documents, translating languages, and completing text. Yes, we are using the OpenAI. It can answer your questions. OpenAI is also, GPT is also a large language model. It is a very versatile large language model. It can take up to 100k tokens as a input. 100k mean 1 lakh tokens as an input. It can still take this large input. It can completely perform these tasks very efficiently as compared to your deep learning models. OpenAI GPT model has 173 billion parameters. What is meant by this 173 billion parameters? Parameters means these are trainable parameters. When you fine tune, so you can just simply fine tune these parameters as well. So this parameter has the more the parameters of your large language model, the more it has the capability to understand the more text. So if your large language model is having higher number of parameters, it means it can accept more bigger data sets. So each parameter will be understanding your context. Also, it can take inputs up to 100k tokens in each prompt. So in each prompt you can pass up to 100k. It's a very big amount. It's 1 lakh amount. So you can pass this amount as input. In simpler terms, a large language model is a computer program that has been fed through enough examples to be able to recognize and interpret human language or other types of complex data. Yes, it can also understand the human language, and also complex data it can also understand. Quality of samples impact how LLMs will learn natural language. Yes, if you're obviously, as we have seen from the data science practice, if your quality of your data is good, obviously your output, your accuracy will be good. So always keep in mind, large language models also accept the good quality data. So, and large language programmers may use more curated data sets. So your data set should be more curated so it can easily understand. Different types of large language models. Llama is just launched 1 week ago by the Meta, which has 3.1, which has around 4 or 5 billion parameters. GPT-5, GPT-4 by OpenAI is also a large language model. GPT-3 also from the OpenAI BERT bidirectional encoder representations from transformers by Google. This was the very first the large language model by the Google. Text to text transformer. This type of large language model can be used for summary. When you have a bigger text, you want to summarize your text and you are interested to do this job using the large language model, then you can go with the this model. This is developed by as well as Google. Roberta, a robustly optimized BERT pre-training approach by Facebook AI. This is also application of the Meta. ExcelNet by Google and Carnegie Mellon University. GPT-2 by OpenAI, Megatron LM by NVIDIA. So these are the famous large language models. When you will search about the different types of large language models on the internet, you will get these. So these are the mainly used. So if you are interested to get some good accuracies, then you can simply start with the either with the Llama or with the GPT-4. So it will give you a very good accuracy and it can just easily understand the comprehends your data. LLM and its limitation. Obviously, as we are getting too much functionality from the large language models, they still come up with lot of limitations. So let's see what are the limitations of the large language models. Not updated to the latest information. Let's understand what does this mean. Generative AI use large language models to generate text, and these models have information only to date they are trained. If data requested beyond that date, accuracy output may be compromised. Yes, just assume an example. GPT-3 was trained up to the 2021 September 2021. So if you ask the information after the September 2021, it is not trained on that. GPT doesn't know the information after this date. So this is the limitation. You have spent lot of time in pre-training your large language model. Now your GPT model, your large language model is not updated by the date. So that is the first limitation. To update your large language model is a quite again time taking task. You have to fetch again updated data, you have to feed your large language model. So this is the very first limitation. Hallucination. This is a very interesting thing. Let me give you an example. If your GPT model, maybe you guys have noticed this problem. I have noticed this problem in the GPT-3 hallucination. When you used to ask questions from the GPT-3, if GPT-3 doesn't know, it's never say I don't know. It start giving you just random answers. It never says I am not trained on this data. Can you please go and search on internet by your own? Instead of doing this, it used to start giving you just simply incorrect answers. So that is called hallucination. When your questions, when you question from GPT, it doesn't give you the correct answer. Instead of this, it start giving you just simple random answers. So that is called hallucination. Hallucination refer to the output which is factually incorrect or nonsensical. Yes, when maybe you have guys have also faced this problem. However, the output looks coherent and grammatically correct. Obviously, it is trained on a very huge grammar text, so it can generate a good grammar, but still it is not related to our problem which we are asking. This information could be misleading and could have a major impact on business and decision making. Yes, if you are using the GPT model in the back end of your business and your business decisions are dependent on this GPT model, then obviously it can make impact on your business. It can start giving you, once it start giving you the incorrect answer, the hallucination can impact your business decision making. So this is the second problem. It can hallucinate your answer. Domain specific most accurate information. Large language models output impact lacks accurate information many times when specificity is more important than generalized output. For instance, organizational HR policies tailored to specific employees may not accurately addressed by LLM based AI due to its tendency towards generic responses. Yes, to train your large language model, it gives you answer, it gives you very good answer, but that is related to specific category. To give you the more generalized, you must have to provide that generalized data to your large language model, so it can understand that each and every scenario, so it can give you answer based on that. Source citations in generative AI responses, we don't know what source it is referring to generate a particular response. So citations become difficult, and sometimes it's not ethically correct to not cite the source of information and give due credit. Obviously, GPT just simply generate your output. It doesn't provide you the source from which source I am answering this question. So citations become difficult for this large language model. So this is the limitation. Another limitation: updates take long training time. Yes, your GPT model is trained up to September 2021. Now you have to launch another model which should be trained on the next data. So it's going to take a lot of time, frequently fine tuning, retraining models. It requires huge resources and a long training time, which is computationally intensive task. Presenting false information when it does not have the answer. So when it doesn't have the answer, just simply GPT start giving you the false answer. So this is a limitation. Not GPT, every large language model, when it doesn't have the information, so it start giving you the false answer. Now let's see what is a RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. It is an advanced technique used in large language models. It is used in large language model. It is used together with the large language model. RAG combines retrieval and generation process to enhance the capabilities of large language models. So it combines the retrieval and generation processes to enhance the capabilities of large language model. The basic aim of the RAG is to combine with the large language model, so its power should be increased. In RAG, the model retrieves relevant information from a knowledge base or external sources. There are multiple external sources you can define. You can create your own knowledge base as well, so which can be used to generate your relevant information. This retrieved information is then used in conjunction with the model's internal knowledge to generate coherent and contextually relevant responses. So why we need the RAG? Just assume I have told you large language models are trained up to specific date. Now what you have to do, you have to fine tune another by preparing another data set which is updated. No, it's going to again taking a time taking. As we know, large language model has the capability to understand the data, so RAG is developed on top of that. You keep that another information into your RAG, so whenever you get a question, we're going to ask the question from your large language model. It will just simply go to the RAG. It will see, okay, this information is available in my RAG. Okay, so it will bring that information. The RAG will set the context of your large language model. Let's say you are asking about, let's consider an example. You have a bigger store, e-commerce website where you sell all type of products. Let's take an example of the shoes. Shoes is the one category in your system. You have trained your large language model on whole data set of your store. Let's say you have the shoes, you have the clothes, you have the everything, you have the groceries, you have the export things, you have the electronics, you have all the things. But after you train the large language model, after 1 month, you find out there's a new brand of the shoe which is very famous in market. So what you will do, obviously you will acquire that brand, you will buy those shoes, and you will also add in your e-commerce website. So but that information is not available in your large language model. Your large language model is not trained on that data. What will you do? You will go back again and train your large language model for that specific category of the shoes? No, you will create a vector database or a RAG where you will keep the information about those specific shoes. Let's say that in your training data you did not included the shoes information of the Nike. All the products of the Nike was not included in your training, so you will save the information of all the products of the Nike into your RAG data and RAG and vector database. So whenever user come and query about the Nike, any product of the Nike, the RAG will trigger, RAG will bring the information, RAG will set the context of a large language model. Large language model has the capability to understand the context on the runtime and also comprehend that text. So the information is gathered from the RAG. It will check, okay, my customer is asking for a product which is Nike Air Max shoe, so it will tell you the price, the specification, all these things. So instead of training a fine tuning a large language model again, you can just simply establish a rag which can just simply, where you can just simply keep updated the data about your store. So whenever a new product comes, you can just simply add the information. So whenever user query about that, so it will give the answer related to that text. So the retrieve information is then used in conjunction with the model's internal knowledge to generate coherent and contextually relevant responses. So yes, which I was talking about in the example, relevant and contextually relevant responses. Coherent, obviously when you have RAG, it will be coherent. RAG enables large language models to produce higher quality and more context-aware outputs compared to traditional generation methods. Obviously, because you have you have just simply fine-tune your model on that specific data, so then it's going to answer you based on that. Essentially, RAG empowers large language models to leverage external knowledge for improved performance in various natural language processing tasks. You can think why it is important. You can think of large language model an over enthusiastic employee who refuse to stay informed with the current events but will always answer every question with obsolete confidence. Yes, that's a very good example. An employee who's working in an organization from last 10 years. He's not updating his knowledge. He's refusing all the time. He's saying I know everything, but obviously, as you guys know, technology changes after every 2 years. In past 2 years we used to see the machine learning was on boom, but now generative AI is on boom. But that employee is not updating his knowledge. He is just simply saying I know everything, but new employees are coming, the new freshers are coming who are more experienced, who know about the current things, who know about the generative AI, but this guy doesn't know. So this kind of attitude can impact your organization. So in this scenario, if you just consider a large language model, you cannot fine tune your large language model again by performing, you can say, fine tuning and spending a lot of money in your resources and spending a lot of time in your data preparation. So unfortunately this will impact your accuracy. Obviously you are utilizing your large language model, but it is not making impact because data is not updated. So RAG is one approach to solving some of these challenges. It redirects the large language model to retrieve relevant information from authoritative predetermined knowledge sources. Organizations have greater control over the generated text output, and users gain insight into how the LLM generates a response. So it will give you the more, you can say, relevant resources, relevant information, so you can just simply utilize it. This is the architecture of the RAG. You have your large language model. User asks the query. Okay, user asks the query. So when you create the RAG, you also create an embedding model. What is the embedding? When you train your, let me give you more simple example. Embedding model basically, as you know, computer understand only the language of 0 1. It doesn't understand hello, this is my name. When you enter this, it just simply go into the, you can say, binary and save into your computer. So to make your model to understand, we apply the embedding model. What does this do? It just simply convert your textual data, your query, all the textual data into the vectors. What are the vectors? Vectors are just simply nothing, just the conversion of your text into the number. Hello, this is my name. Hello will be, let's say, 121 converted into the vector. Is will be 132. So every word will be converted into the vector, and it will store into the vector database. So this is our vector database. After getting the input from the user, the embedding model will convert the vectors into the vector, convert the text into the vectors, and then it will go into the vector store. So whenever user asks the question, let's say my question is I want to know about the price of Air Max, Nike Air Max. My question coming here, it is converting into the vectors as well, because it will check is this information available in my vector. It will go here, and also it is going here. So the information is coming here. It will check, okay, my user has queried about the Nike Air Max, so it will retrieve the relevant relevant context. So the relevant context will come here, and next it will go with my prompt. So my prompt was, can you tell me the price of the Nike Air Max shoes? Okay, this is my prompt plus The text retrieve from the vector database. So the relevant context is retrieved from the. It will just simply go to the large language model, my query, and the response from the RAG, and at the end it will generate a response from the information from the relevant context. So this is the benefit of using the RAG. It just simply combine with your large language model using the embedding model, and you can just simply get the more, you can say, contextual understanding about your data. Now the question is, do we need fine tuning or we need to go with the RAG? What are the benefits of going with the fine tuning and what are the benefits of going with the RAG? So first objective is fine tuning aims to adapt a pre-trained large language model to a specific task or domain by adjusting its parameters based on the specific data. Fine tuning is just simply pre-trained. You pick a pre-trained model and you just simply, for the very first time, fine tuning is good because your large language model doesn't know about your dataset. But once you fine tune on your dataset, now next is you just simply improve your RAG, create a RAG which is simply focusing on quality and relevance of generated text by incorporating retrieve information from external sources during the generation process. Next is training data. Fine tuning requires task specific label data examples to update the model parameters and optimize, leading the more and time and cost. Yes, time and cost is the main thing here. If you can pay a cost and if you have time, then you can go. But in organizations we don't have time. Even requirements are very you can say very strict. You must have to deliver. Timelines are very strict. You have to deliver in this timeline. So if you just simply go back and fine tune your large language model, it's going to take a while again. So you can just simply rely on the RAG. So we can just simply take your next further data and just whenever I get a query, it will extract the data from there. Adaptability. The main advantage of the RAG is adaptability. Fine tuning makes LLM more specialized and tailored to a specific task on domain. Yes, you have performed the fine tuning. Now your large language model is tailored to that specific task. Now your model has already adopted on this data. Now you can go with the RAG. Maintains the generalizability of the pre-trained LLM by leveraging external knowledge, allowing it to adopt a wide range of tasks. Benefits of the RAGs: enhance relevance, incorporate external knowledge for more contextually relevant responses. Improved quality. Yes, your quality is getting improved. Enhances the quality and accuracy of the generated output. Your accuracy and the quality is getting improved because now you're more towards the context. Versatility. Adaptable to various tasks and domains without specific fine tuning. Yes, that's the major advantage. Efficient retrieval leverages existing knowledge base, reducing the need for large labeled datasets. Yes, you can just simply, you don't have to create again large labeled data, so just simply pass to your RAG. Dynamic updates. You can just simply update your RAG anytime. You don't have to again further fine tuning. Just simply update your data in your RAG. Allows for real-time periodic updates to maintain the current information. Applications. What are the applications of RAG? Conversational AI. RAG enables chatbots to provide more accurate and contextually relevant responses to user queries. Let's say in the very, you have just simply started your business. In the business you are just simply providing consultation to the tech side only. You are providing consultation into the AI, you are providing consultation to the web development, you are providing consultation to the mobile application. These are your first three consultations. But with the passage of time you are engaged with more experts, you are engaged with more consultants who are working in cybersecurity, who are working in generative AI, who are working in networking. So you have a chatbot which is already trained on the first three types. But you obviously, when a client come to your website, he will query what are the services you provide. So if you don't update that chatbot, it will not provide that service. It will not give him answer. We provide services to the cybersecurity, we provide services to the generative AI, we provide services to the other things, whatever XYZ. So if you don't update this, obviously it will not give you the output. So you can just simply enable your chatbot with the RAG. So you just simply update your data in the RAG. It will automatically fetch that information. Whenever you get the query to your RAG, it will just simply fetch that relevant information and returns you the answer. Question answering. RAG enhances question answering system by retrieving the relevant passages or documents containing answer to your queries. Yes, you can just simply answer anything using your RAG to your user. Content generation. In content generation such as summarization, article writing, and content recommendation, RAG can augment the generation process with the retrieve information incorporating relevant facts, statistics, and examples from external source. So it can also bring the information from the external source. Healthcare. Health RAG can assist care professional in assisting relevant latest medical literature guidelines. Yes, you obviously you train your large language models. You cannot fine tune again and again. But if you just keep simply create a RAG and you just simply keep updating your RAG, so obviously you will have the latest and medical literature for your healthcare guidelines. What is Langchain? Yes, the third thing is Langchain. We talked about the LLMs, we talk about the RAG. Now third thing is, what is Langchain? Let's see. Langchain is a framework designed for building applications with large language models. It provides tools and abstractions to help developers to work with large language models more effectively. Langchain enables the creation of complex applications by chaining together different functionalities. It supports various operations such as text generation, information retrieval, and integration with other APIs or data sources. Langchain facilitates the orchestration of multiple LLMs and their interaction, allowing for more sophisticated and contextually aware outputs. Wow, that's too much. Let me summarize it. Langchain aims to simplify the development process and enhance the capabilities of application utilizing large language models by providing a structured and modular approach. I believe this is going above from your head. Let me simplify it. We have seen large language models. The main aim of all this RAG and Langchain is to facilitate your large language model. Just keep this first thing in your mind. We are facilitating, we are improving the power of our large language model, but how? What's the difference between RAG and Langchain? Langchain has the capability to go to the external sources. The external sources can be documents, the external sources can be the links of your websites, it can be anything. It has the capability to go to other sources, fetch the information, and just simply enhance the capability of your application who is utilizing the large language model. So it gives the more power to your large language model to facilitate the multiple LLMs. Even it can communicate with multiple LLMs and allowing a more contextually and sophisticated output. So Langchain just simply go over your internet, other large language models. If the capability of large language models is not enough, you can just simply communicate with other large language models. It can provide you the answer, it can orchestrate your output, which can facilitate your business. Okay, yes, now let's jump into the implementation where we're going to see the implementation of the large language model. We're going to utilize the Azure OpenAI. First, let me guys walk you through. If you guys have a subscription of the Azure, I just simply create your Azure account with your debit card. If you have a debit card, it will give you around 12 months for free, where you can just simply do your experimentation. You can explore the Azure AI Studio, Azure Machine Learning Studio. You can create multiple applications, and the main advantage of the Azure is you can also simply utilize the Azure OpenAI Studio. So in Azure, they have also integrated the Azure OpenAI services, the services which are available in the OpenAI. You can also utilize in the Azure. So this is the main advantage. So I have already created a subscription. I have already created an endpoint which can just simply I can utilize in my, let me open my Azure OpenAI Studio. It's taking a while. So I will go to the Azure OpenAI Studio. It's coming. Okay, so this is an OpenAI Studio. Let me just walk you through. So if you have to chat with any large language model, any GPT services, you can just simply go and you can just simply select your, so here you, whatever you create your GPT model, any your large language model, you can also communicate, you can also perform your testing whenever you train your large language model, whenever you create your GPT model on your own dataset. So it has the capability to add your own dataset. Obviously, your GPT, you are training a GPT model which based on your specific your business use case. So you can enter the data. So once you enter the data, you can just simply go to the prompt, you can start chatting with it. So it will allow you to communicate with data, and once you are done, you can just simply go and you can just simply deploy it to your web application. So it will allow you to integrate with your web application. So at the end, you can also see the code which can just simply you can use it. So here the DALL-E is also available. It is separate to the image, it is separate from the GPT model. If you want to create any image generation model, you can also use it. So here in my model section, there are multiple models available. It depends on your subscription as well. If you're not getting the all list of the GPT models, you can request the Azure services, so it will allow you to get all the models. So here I have all my models: GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K, GPT 3.5 Turbo Instruct, GPT 4, all the versions of the model I have. Text embedding model, this is the model which I will be utilizing in my RAG application, and just simply all these things I am available. So now I have already deployed my model. I have already deployed my model. This one model. So I am going to utilize this model. Just one thing you have to keep in mind: the name of the model you must have to, deployment name you have, and model name you have to copy. And the other thing is the endpoints which you have to copy. So I'm not going to show you this key because obviously this is my private key. I'm not going to show you. So you will get the OpenAI key. So you can just simply go, whenever you will go to here, it will provide you all the credentials. It will provide you sorry, it will provide you the endpoint. You can also enter the endpoint, the API version. What is API version? This is my API version. I'm using this model, so this is my API version. So this is my deployment name which I have entered here, GPT model for Jet. Model name, I'm using a GPT 3.5 Turbo Instruct. So these are the things you just have to get from your Azure OpenAI portal. So once you get all these things, you can just simply set up the things here. So you will be getting here. And the libraries you have to install: Langchain you must have to install, because if you are using the Langchain, the library should be installed. ChromaDB, why we need this? ChromaDB is basically used to store your data vectors in the form of the ChromaDB is responsible for storing your vectors. Tick token, this is also to facilitate your tokens. OpenAI library and Langchain community, these are the 5 libraries you must have to install. Once you install this, you can just simply import these libraries. You all have already set up your keys. I'm going to call the chat models because I am going to chat with the Azure Chat OpenAI. Then I'm going to import the templates and the LLM chain because I am going to create an application based on the LLM Langchain. Azure Chat OpenAI, this is a function where it takes the 2 inputs: GPT model, the name of your deployment, and the model name. You can change the name of your deployment, it can be any name, so it's up to you. So I have just created it, and I am creating a schema. Obviously I am going to save my information into the vectors as well. So whenever I am communicating with my large language model, it should go into the vectors as well. So 3 messages I will be having here: system message, human message, and AI message. So I am creating a schema inside my Langchain. So this is a library Langchain, and inside this I have a function which is called schema. It allows me to create this. So system message is this: you are an expert and AGI system capable of anything except answering questions about cheese. This was my just random question. It turns out AGI doesn't fathom cheese as a concept. The reason for this as a mystery. So I just simply set you can say memory of this. So my discussion will start here. So I will start communicating with this. So this is my human message. I have to communicate with this Langchain. So I will set this human message. Messages dot append, this is my list above. So I'm saying here human message content, this is my question. So I will ask here, hi, how are you doing today? What is the meaning of life? So I'll just simply call this large language model. I pass my messages list and it will return me here, hello, I'm functionally
functioning optimally? Thank you for asking. The whatever the question it is returning me, it is here. So it is telling me the model name is this, so it is returning me all the output here. Again, I have appended my response again in the messages list, so this is here. I have defined my template where you are intelligent sportive assistant, answer the following question with the best you can, provide only answer, nothing else. I am passing my question here, so whatever you will pass, the question will just simply set into here, and the GPT model will be returning you the answer based on its understanding. So let's say again ask the question here, and it is returning me the question answer. So my question was, I am passing this question here, Langchain LLM chain dot run question. The meaning of life is philosophical question that varies depending on the individual beliefs. So this is my I have just starting communicating with my Langchain model. Again, can create an impressive tagline for a coffee shop. Awaken your sense one sip at a time. Again, I have just started answering questioning. I just simply ask multiple questions, and if you see, I ask them provide me the code for training a scene and model. So it has returned me a code which I can just simply use to train a CNN model. You can see it has referred our dataset as well. It has referred the CIFAR dataset, which is a dataset of the animals data images of the different animals. So if you want to train a CNN model, you can just simply utilize this code. So simply I have set up this a very basic application of the Langchain using the Azure OpenAI services, which allows me to not communicate with the GPT model, but I can also add my own personal stuff. I can also add my own personal data, so I can communicate with that. So I'm just keeping this at very basic level. I don't want you to overwhelm with this lot of information. So I hope you guys understand this. Now let's move to the question sessions. If you guys have any question, you can please ask.
Sir,
I'll
from where we can access this code?
I'll provide you this code, but I will not share the keys.
Okay, okay, no problem. Just code.
Hmm. No, RAG is not your own GPT model. RAG is not your own GPT model. RAG is just information you are imposing on your GPT model, external information you are imposing to your GPT model. Okay, recording will start it. Guys, recording will be available after this. So if you guys have any question, you can ask.
Sir, what is the concept of hugging face in a large language model?
What is the concept of
Hugging face.
Hugging Face? Hugging Face is a separate, you can say, library which allows you to just simply fine tune your model on different transformers based models. RAG and Langchain. RAG just simply, you can say, a database which where you can save your data, and whenever you get a query, your large language model will be. Let's go back to this architecture. So RAG is just your database, a vector database where you can store your data which is not available in your large language model. So this is the functionality of the RAG. It just simply add the further information in your large language model only from the database. It doesn't go to any external source. But Langchain has the capability. If you have other large language models, it can bring the information from other large language model. If you have the you can say different websites, you have different links, you want to fetch that information, it can go to that you can say specific place and bring that relevant information. So RAG is only restricted to the vector database, but the Langchain is separate thing, separate domain. It can go to any external source and bring your relevant information. Yes.
Sir, how we can integrate this code to web and app?
There are a lot of things. This is a very basic, but to integrate this thing, you have to again write your modules. Yes, question answering. Yes, Usama, you are right. It obviously, whenever you get a question, you have answer. So you just simply enter the question and answer as well. But it's not compulsory. Even I have trained RAG without questions as well. I just simply included my information, my personal information. It was basically my resume. I created a RAG on my resume. If you have joined my previous session, maybe you have seen I created a Langchain application using Gemini, where I just simply included my resume in the RAG. So when I used to query my information, specific information, it used to give me the answer. But your data should be well, you can say well prepared, so your RAG can identify that as well. Any further question?
So the models which are trained, you are saying that the models are showing the answer which is trained on a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
So how these are different from each other? This current LLM that are doing
Mm-hmm.
the learner keyboard, and
Hmm.
the previous one is the learner key.
Hmm.
Then how will change the different? How we will find the difference? Which is the best to
Okay, so first of all, every latest LLM is the best because that LLM has covered most of the data as which the previous one has not covered yet. And the main difference you will see whenever you search about the large language model, they also mention about the parameters. What are parameters? Parameters basically are those trainable parameters. Let's say if that large language model is trained on the whole data set of the Wikipedia, you can also go with that. So if the more the parameters you have, the more the capability. Let's say you are also going to do something, you are going to create your own, you can say, worldwide information. You have gathered the information worldwide from the diseases of all the hospital, and you want to pass to that your large language model so it can get trained. Every kind of disease should be covered. What is the specific disease should be covered. So you can just simply pick a large language model which can accept this amount of data. So it depends on your use case as well, which is the best for you. It's not necessary you always go and pick the latest. Sometimes the, you can say, the initial large language models, if it can work for your job, then use it. So we'll have another session on this. I kept this to the very basic level, but in my next session we'll have less of the theory, we'll have most of the things practical. I just wanted to make your context to understand this thing, so whenever we'll go into the much detail, so at least you will guys will have the understanding about the theoretically, because if you understand this thing, why we need this, then you will understand, okay, that's why we need this. So if you have understand these things, you will get the recording of this session. So in our next session, when we'll go and develop a RAG, when I will provide my personal information and my RAG, my GPT model will fetch my personal information. So this is, we'll see how the things will work.